Hello, I'm State Representative Peter Beck from the 67th House District. Welcome to Ohio in Focus.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Ohio in Focus, a program that brings state government to you. I'm your host, Charles Willoughby. We have with us today State Representative Peter Beck, who serves the 67th House District, which includes portions of Warren County. Thank you for joining us, Representative.
Thank you for having me this morning.
So let's talk about a little bit about your background, your professional experience, and the life that you lived before becoming a state representative.
Okay, I was born and raised in Lindora, Pennsylvania, which is a little town just north of Pittsburgh. That's where my roots are in western Pennsylvania. My brother and, of course, mother and father. I just had one sibling. They're all deceased today, so I'm the remaining member of my family. But from there, I moved on and went into, after college, got drafted out of college, joined the Marine Corps, went to University of South Carolina for a little while, and that's why I really became interested in accounting. When I served in the Marine Corps for the 2 years, from 1972 through 1975, got discharged, ended up in the University of South Florida where I graduated. I'm a father, married to Carla, my wife, and I'm a father of 3 boys and 1 lovely daughter. And my oldest son, Balin, is a captain in the Air Force. He's a fighter pilot, flies F-16s. And so last week I was happy for him because he got to fly, but unfortunately he's going overseas. He's been stationed overseas for 6 months. And his wife is home, Kate, with our second grandchild, his second child, which will be born in the next 6 months. So hopefully he'll be able to come back and be a part of the birth. So again, I'm just happy to be here with you, and a little bit more of why I came to Ohio and what brought me to Ohio is after I got out of the school, I became a bank auditor, a bank examiner, and I audited banks down in Florida, Georgia, and throughout the country. Had an opportunity to move closer to home, went to Buffalo, New York, and after I left Buffalo, I realized it's a little bit too cold to be in Buffalo, New York at that time, and I wanted to go further south, and a friend of mine had an opportunity for me to be a bank examiner, bank auditor for Star Bank in Cincinnati. So that's brought me to Ohio over 22 years ago, and I've lived in Mason ever since there.
Well, you have some very good experience, and also you are a CPA, is that correct? And,
That's correct.
And is that experience sort of prepared you, or do you think that you've been able to utilize that while being a state representative?
I've been a CPA in my own practice for over 20 years. I started out in Westchester and then moved with my partners, Donnie Hookup and Beck, down in Milford and Mason. And that has added so much valuable insight for me as a small business owner to understand what small business owners deal with every single day. It's a lot easier to sign the back of a paycheck than it is the front of a paycheck. To turn on the lights, to collect the receivables and payables. So you understand the issues, and what got me involved in politics was clients complaining about regulatory, workers' comp issues that were facing them, sales tax issues, payroll tax issues, and said, you got to do something about it. And so that's what started me to getting involved in the political arena.
Well, there's definitely a lot of issues being dealt with right now, and across the entire state. Each county is a little different. All 99 counties in Ohio are unique in one way or another. What are some of the major issues or challenges that face your district?
Well, Warren County, my district, District 67, I think is very unique. We're still the second fastest growing county in the state. So we have, we've transitioned from a rural county to about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, to more of an urbanized county because of population growth. We're located between the Cincinnati markets and the Dayton market, so we're fortunate enough to be able to have residents that live in our community and work in different cities. So we have a diverse background as far as business that are in my district, in Mason area, in Lebanon, in Springboro. So we're not just structured with one industry group. So we have aerospace, we have high tech, we have a lot of service industries. So that makes my district so unique compared to some of the other areas.
Well, right now that experience having a growth area is unique for certain. What is the most important responsibility here in the State House that you feel that you serve your district?
My most important responsibility is to serve my district. I work for my constituency, and those are the ones that put me in office, so I have to represent them, but also have to work for the Speaker of the House and carry on what he feels and what we feel as a caucus as moving Ohio forward in the best direction that we think it needs to go.
Well, and what what are some of the legislative issues that you've worked on that have been either producing economic recovery type and producing jobs, as you said, but what are some of the most important legislative initiatives that you have sponsored or gotten involved with?
Well, there's quite a few, and one I'm most proud of is it was a third bill signed by the governor. It was the first tax cut bill, was House Bill 58. It was a tax conformity and simplification bill where we mirrored the state tax code, mirrored the federal government, the IRS code, and I think that to me was important to in this environment to provide a tax cut to our residents, our business, but also part of that bill was a job retention tax credit to be able to utilize the governor and the Department of Development to retain businesses in this state that have been leaving and going to other states.
Well, that is fantastic. I'm glad that you could bring your experience from the private sector here to the Ohio House and encourage job credit taxes and that sort of thing. What now, and that is actually in effect currently, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's already in effect, and we had to make it with an emergency clause to make it retroactive to January 1st because everybody was started at that point. We're already filing their tax returns when we were dealing with the bill. So be able to do that and to afford our taxpayers and our small business owners tax credits so they can reinvest into their businesses, into their homes, to pay the bills, to put more money back into the economy.
And what are some of the other initiatives that you've led, maybe dealing with other issues that dealt directly with your constituents or with the district at hand?
All right, there's a couple of things. House Bill 220 we're currently working on. It's looking at creative ways of bringing foreign investment capital to the state of Ohio. That's a bill that's working through the Economic Development Committee, and if we can get that accomplished and get it passed, that will bring new access to capital that small business owners that they're looking for that they can't currently find right now. Some of the things that I'm really proud of is the daughter adoption bill, that House Bill 92 that was passed. And it's right in the Senate. It's important to me because I adopted my daughter, Alyssa, a year ago. I was raising her as I raised her as my daughter when my wife Carla and I got married, and I always thought it was my daughter, but I always have to question and say, well, it's my stepdaughter, because I don't want anybody to say that it's not really your daughter. But now, because of when she turned 21, she had the opportunity to say that she wanted to be my adopted daughter. Unfortunately, some families do not have that opportunity. So that bill is very important to not only me, but to families throughout Ohio.
And that bill is working its way through the committee process. And what other committees are you currently serving on, and how's that going for you so far? It's been a busy year, I know.
Yes, it has been a very busy year, and I guess you brought up my background of being a CPA. Yeah. It's fortunate for me that the Speaker of the House put me on a variety, and he puts you on committees that he feels that best suit your background, your experiences, and I'm chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, and that's where all the tax policies, the tax rules go through. So that's something I deal with every single day in my career, and I have been. So it affords me a great opportunity, a unique opportunity to be able to CPA to chair that committee, and so I'm fortunate with that. I also sit on Public Utilities and also Small Business and Economic Development Committee, and then of course Finance, being a CPA with my background.
And one of the ones that you mentioned was the economic development. I know that you've gotten a lot of development experience and have actually been recognized for those the work that you've done in your prior private sector life.
Right.
Another bill that you'd worked on was House Bill 176, which involved public improvements and development. Now, can you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, House Bill 176 is a bill that I guess when I was on council as a council member and a mayor of the city of Mason, we had change orders, and it's a project. If you go around the country, one of the biggest expenses that we have in this country are change orders. Once you approve a project, then you have a variety of change orders that increase the scope, increase the money, taxpayer monies that we're spending. And this bill will limit what I believe, put more controls on the change of scope type issues and allow for more accountability, because we're spending taxpayer dollars. It's not our money that we spend, and we have to make sure they have accountability and rules in place so we're doing it wisely and as efficiently and effectively as we can.
That is great, and we appreciate your work on that and other things around the State House. Now, as you said, you're chairman of the Ways and Means Committee and multiple other committees. You've initiated a lot of legislation, so you're pretty busy here at the State House and most likely back in the district. Could you describe, if you can, what a typical day would be like here in the State House, if there is such a thing?
Well, you have a to-do list. You have an idea of what you want your day to start out with, because you start out with meetings, but you never know how those meetings are going to turn out. If you run into a representative in the hallway like we did this morning, we walked in, we started talking about a representative and gave an idea to me as far as making maybe a change or amendment or a follow-up contact on a bill that we're working on, which we would never had that opportunity. But you meet with your constituency when they come in. Anybody who comes into the office, it's District 67 office, I meet with them because that office belongs to them. I just happen to sit in it because they allow me to sit there. Committee meetings, we actually also have, I said, work sessions if we have work groups or follow-ups, phone calls to the district, answering emails. Unfortunately, without our aides, we would not be able to do what we're doing and able to go to the meetings and go to the sessions. We have to. They prepare us, give us the information, and respond to a lot of the calls, set our schedules. And it's frustrating for them because a lot of times the schedules that you have change.
It's very understandable, and it is very important. Now, what is one of the things that you enjoy most about your job? If you can pick one thing, or if there's a few things, what do you enjoy most?
It's working with the people and trying to do the best I can with my experience and my background to make Ohio a best place to live, work, and raise a family, to worship. And that's really what I enjoy. It's the people contact and the constituents, not only in my district, but throughout the state.
And you mentioned the bill that you'd worked on specifically for your district. Are there any groups in your district and your constituents that you've worked on or forwarded an idea that is hopefully progressing to become law?
Correct. I have an education advisory committee that we meet every quarter, and we sit down and we talk about it. It's made up of representatives from throughout all the school districts in the state, from the treasurers, from superintendents, to principals, to parents, and we look at issues that are affecting the schools. And one is, for me, because I don't have all the answers, and the constituents deal with it every day, the teachers deal with it every day, and so that would help me to look at issues that directly impact their daily lives. And it's afforded me to look at legislation differently, to have information that I needed to address education. So also meet with the Area Progress Council, which is made up of business leaders throughout the county, and you sit down and you talk with them about small business issues, workers' comp issues, payroll tax issues. And so that's helped me craft legislation or work on legislation that would be important to them.
And if your constituents still have more solutions to add, how do they best reach you or get in contact with you?
Well, the easiest way is I live in a district, so they can see me at a local store or driving around the district. I'm in the phone book down there, and they know that. But the easiest to contact my office, District 67, at the State House, it'd be the email or phone call. If they call the office at 614-644-6027 and get a hold of my aide Brittany, and then from there we'll answer any concerns or put them in the right direction. If we can't answer the question, we'll try to get an answer for them.
That is great, and we appreciate you coming in today, Representative. It's been a great pleasure talking to you.
It was my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of Ohio in Focus, the program that brings state government to you. Thank you for joining us.